So, welcome everyone to our wonderful sanctuary. And those of you who are joining us on YouTube, and a special welcome. You may not have had to rise up as early as those of us who showed up in person. So everyone who is here, who managed to get here in spite of our losing the hour last night, congratulations. Give yourself a pat on the back or applause. I'm grateful that you're here. And those of us who are here in the sanctuary, and you at home are also invited, are going to rise and sing our congregational song. And it's thank you for this day. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. It's almost spring. Almost.
Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This holy, this holy, this holy day. This holy, this holy, this holy day. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends. Thank you for my friends, Spirit, thank you for my friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. My wonderful, my wonderful, my wonderful friends. Thank you for my health, Spirit, thank you for my health. Thank you for my health, Spirit, thank you for my health. My radiant, my radiant, my radiant health. My radiant, my radiant, my radiant health. And thank you for my wealth, Spirit, thank you for my wealth. Thank you for my wealth, Spirit, thank you for my wealth. My abundant, abundant, abundant wealth. My abundant, abundant, abundant wealth. Now thank you for my life, Spirit, thank you for my life. Thank you for my life, Spirit, thank you for my life. My beautiful, my beautiful, my beautiful life. My beautiful, my beautiful, my beautiful life. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. Thank you for this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This holy, this holy, this holy day. This holy, this holy, this holy day. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this day. Yay!
For this day. And so, welcome again into this sanctuary and into this wonderful day, this holy day. And we bring our radiant life, we bring everything that is and defines who I am into this space that I'm creating on the airwaves or in the room. Wherever I am, God always is. So I take time in this moment as I begin this wonderful celebration of life that is the service at Redondo Beach Center for Spiritual Living. As I step into this space of wonder, of curiosity, of understanding, of love, as I move through an expression of understanding who I really am. And I know that I grow as a result of the time that I spend in this space. I grow in who I know that I am and how I see myself in this world. I am grateful to know that those things that I know and that I say and speak into this word absolutely come into my life. I am so grateful for all of my blessings, but most especially for this moment that I have. So in gratitude, I simply release and let it be and say, and so it is. And so it is. And so I'm welcoming up Miss Katie Frankel, who is going to share our announcements with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reverend Catherine. Good morning to my Redondo Beach Center for Spiritual Living family here in the sanctuary. Hi, everyone. And hello to everyone online on YouTube. We probably have Leah there and Sydney. So hi, nice to see you guys today. And hope that everyone sprang forward okay today, because I'm knowing that we are right on time with today's speaker, Reverend Catherine McKinney. After service today, the Women's Circle is going to meet at 12:30 in the teen room. The Women's Circle is a group of spiritually minded women who meet each month for discussion and camaraderie. They'd love for you to join them in the teen room. Also today, we're excited to have the teen workshop after the service. It's going to be in Richelieu Hall, and the teens are going to host for us a typical workshop that they have on their retreats. So very exciting, you guys. Please join us for that, and I think we might have some snacks as well. Coming up this week on Monday will be the third of our balance classes at 11. The cost is $10, and we have flyers in the foyer. This is hosted by Monica and Dana Lemieux. So Monica, please raise your hand if you guys have any questions about this. Please see Monica, and you're welcome to join us on Monday. And also on Monday, the Men's Spirit Group is going to meet at 7 p.m. in the foyer. If you have questions about this, Mark Ruth, please. No?
First and third Mondays.
Okay, first and third Mondays. All right, so not this Monday, but then Monday the 20th? All right, so you have questions about this, please see Mark about the men's group meeting on Monday the 20th. And coming up Tuesday at 10 a.m., Reverend Kathy attempts to help us untether our souls with the book reading in person here. That book is by Michael Singer, if you've not yet heard it, or it's collecting dust on your shelf like me. Come on down, and I don't think any prerequisites are required. You can just show up, and Reverend Kathy would welcome you for that. Also Tuesday at 11 for you yogis, there's a yoga class here. This is just $10, and it's at 11 on Tuesdays. Please bring your mat. As we move to Wednesday, the next event we have is online at 9:45 on Zoom. And this is the book reading titled Learn to Live by Irvin Seal. Please email the office for a Zoom link there. Of course, this Wednesday at 11, we have our midweek service, so we'd love for you guys to join us for that. And then looking ahead, on Sunday the 19th after service, we're going to have some Irish music and a St. Patrick's Day brunch in Richelieu Hall, so very exciting. I do a little jig, but that would not be great up here, so there we go. Thank you, Andy. And more music, you guys. The Soundscape Orchestra, they performed in December, and we had like a rocking dance fest in there. Marianne Amato and myself were throwing down in December. So if you guys want to get your dance on again, the Soundscape Orchestra, this information's in your program, is having another concert. We're going to call this Spring Fling. It's Friday the 24th in Richelieu Hall. It's from 6 to 8 o'clock. It's free, and doors open at 5:30 for a pre-concert meet and greet. Word is you might be able to get some autographs too. There's cookies, refreshments available. It's a lot of fun. We all really enjoy listening to music and dancing together. Speaking of dancing, we have dance groups that meet at the center on the first Sunday of each month and every other Wednesday. This is a great way to meet people here. And we're currently observing the season for nonviolence at all centers for spiritual living. There are copies of this available at the front desk or via PDF. You can email the office. Today is day 42, and our theme is accountability. In conflicting situations, personal accountability allows us to take responsibility for how we contribute to conflict. Today, take responsibility for how you contribute to a conflict and make a different choice that can lead to a peaceful resolution. A big thank you and shout out to all our volunteers. Please express your appreciation to our tech crew in the back, the folks at the front desk, the greeters, Tracy and everyone who handles our social media, and also our hospitality crew. We appreciate each and every one of you. And if you enjoy this service, take it home with you. CDs are available to purchase after service at the front desk every Sunday. And now I'm excited to welcome our singer today is Jessie Theory, and next week is Tina Meeks. Thank you.
Happy Sunday, everybody. Good morning. So before I pick up my guitar, I kind of wanted to read a quote. I didn't hit you up with this information, but so this is a quote that I really like, and it relates to being a musician and playing here, spiritual centers. It gives you an opportunity to search for songs that you might not search for otherwise. And I'm going to read you a quote and then tell you who it's by. It says, "I hate a song that makes you think that you're not any good. I hate a song that makes you think that you're just born to lose, bound to lose, no good to nobody, no good for nothing, because you're too old or too young or too fat or too slim or too ugly or too this or too that." And he goes on to say, "I decided a long time ago that I'd starve to death before I'd sing any such songs as that." Okay, and that was Woody Guthrie. And, you know, so I'm not going to play you a Woody Guthrie song, but I'd like to think, though he just told us what kind of songs he doesn't like, I'd like to think he's going to like this one. So. Count me down.
You got to get up every morning with a smile on your face and show the world all the love that's in your heart. People gonna treat you better. You're gonna find, yes you will, that you're beautiful as you feel. Waiting at the station with the workday wind blowing, I got nothing else to do but watch the passers by. Mirrored in their faces, I can see frustration growing. They don't see it showing, why do I? You got to get up in the morning with a smile on your face and show the world all the love that's in your heart. Are people gonna treat you better? You're gonna find, yes you will, that you're beautiful as you feel. I have often asked myself the reason for the sadness in a world full of tears. And mirrored in their faces, I can see frustration growing, and they don't see it showing through the year. But you got to get up in the morning with a smile on your face and show the world all the love that's in your heart. Are people gonna treat you better? You're gonna find, yes you will, that you're beautiful as you feel.
Take it, Andy.
You got to get up in the morning with a smile on your face and show the world all the love that's in your heart. Are people gonna treat you better? You're gonna find, yes you will, that you're beautiful as you feel.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jesse. I know everybody likes to be unique, but you reminded me of John Sebastian, and I'll take that I hope you take it as a compliment. That was very, very nice. Good morning. Today, Reverend Catherine's talk title is A Mask or a Hat. During the month of March, Centers for Spiritual Living's theme is cultivating authenticity and choosing to have the courage to let our true selves show. When we look back through history, we find that there were various reasons for wearing a mask or a hat. One purpose was for protection. A hat offered protection from the elements by providing shade and cooling from the hot sun, or helping the wearer to stay dry and warm in very cold and wet weather. Likewise, protection has also been a reason for wearing a mask. In certain sports, a mask is a required part of their uniform. For instance, the baseball catcher or the ice hockey goalie. Masks have been worn for protection in times of widespread disease. The 17th century bubonic plague, the Spanish flu in the early 1900s, and we're all well aware of wearing masks during the COVID-19 pandemic. Besides for protection, hats have been worn by emperors, monarchs, popes, cardinals, and military leaders to convey position, authority, rank, and wealth. Hats have played a role in the display of one's social status and style. In the early 1900s, there was a saying and a song written by Irving Berlin, "Putting on the Ritz." And this meant dressing up in an ostentatious display of glamour and wealth. Extravagant hats at the Kentucky Derby come to mind for me. Much like a costume party, the hat wearer is transformed into a state of grandeur and beauty, which she doesn't normally experience in her everyday life. As far back as ancient Greece, masks were also used for the purpose of transforming the wearer into a new identity or a new role, dramatic or theatrical performances. The performer became the new character that the mask represented, be it comedy or tragedy. Although both masks and hats can share the same purpose of protection or transformation, generally speaking, wearing a mask is considered to be an attempt to conceal or to hide. Unlike a mask, wearing a hat more often than not draws attention to oneself by topping off the outfit. It's kind of like putting a cherry on top. In psychology, wearing a mask is synonymous with the persona, which is the public face that we show the world. Those undesirable and rejected aspects of ourselves that we try to hide are known as the shadow. The Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung is credited with originating shadow work, which was the recovery and the healing process of reintegrating disowned aspects of our personalities. Shadow work is not about eliminating, but rather it is about integrating. It is not about becoming perfect. It's about becoming whole. Shadow work calls for patience, courage, self-love, and compassion in our return to being our original, authentic self. It is a journey of remembering and reclaiming our unique gifts and our individual value. In his book, This Thing Called You, Ernest Holmes says, "There is one power, one presence, one life. The living spirit is right where I am, within, around, and through me. There is a pattern of perfection at the center of my being, a divine and heavenly pattern of wholeness. I live in peace, in joy, and in perfect life." And so it is.
Gee, I wonder what day this is. Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Be careful what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes our prayer. Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Take charge of what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes our prayer.
Thank you, Mary. And thank you, Monica. What a lovely introduction, yes. And I loved the end. I felt like it was great context for this topic today. As indeed she said, the Big CSL is inviting us to consider authenticity for the month of March. And Reverend Valerie last week talked about allowing the real self of ourself to shine forth. And it reminded me of a story that I had heard recently that it originates, or this version of it, from West Africa. In West Africa, there was an animal expert who was walking through the forest. In America, you say forest. We say bush. He was walking through the bush. And so the animal expert came upon a farm, and he saw in the back of the farm there were a lot of chickens in the yard. So chickens in the yard, he says. And so he then noticed that in the middle of the yard there was an eagle. So he walked up to the farmer's door, and he goes, bop, bop. In America, you say knock, knock, but we say bop, bop. So the farmer on the other side of the door said, "Who that?" And he said, "It is me. Open the door, and you can see." So the farmer opened the door. And the animal expert said, "I am an animal expert. And so I noticed when I was walking past your farm, in the back of your farm, you have so chickens, but you also have an eagle right in the middle." And the farmer said, "No, I have no eagle. I have only chickens." And so the animal expert says, "Let me show you." And then they go to the back, and the animal expert picks up the eagle, and he says, "Listen to me. You are an eagle. You can fly. You're with chickens. They cannot fly, so you can fly." The eagle jumped to the ground and started pecking among the chicken feed. And the farmer said, "See, I only have chickens." Well, the animal expert was vexed, and he was a little ashamed, but he went away. So he came back the next morning before God was awake, and he knocked on the farmer's door. Well, the farmer was a little frustrated, but he opened the door. And the animal expert came in, went to the back, and he picked up the eagle, and he went to the top of the barn. And he said, "You are an eagle. Everyone has always told you you were a chicken. So you think like a chicken, you talk like a chicken, you act like a chicken, but you're an eagle. You can fly." And so he held the eagle up, and at that moment, as the sun was about to rise, the eagle said, "If I don't do something, this man is going to come back every day with this story. So I may as well try." So as the animal expert held him up and the sun crested the ridge, the light shone on the eagle, he spread his wings and flew to the sun. The farmer never saw him again. So the idea that we have an authentic self within us is the core story in this beautiful tale from West Africa. And so in thinking about how we present to the world, because there is an idea of letting your light shine, but then there's the idea of how do we keep our light from shining. And I started thinking about hats and masks. And Monica gave us an amazing history of all of that, which I enjoyed listening to, and I hope she enjoyed researching and sharing. And it is true, they both have such a history throughout our own, at least Western civilization, if not beyond. But hats are what I think of as also points of view. Many of us have said at times, well, I'm going to wear the hat of an interior decorator and do this. I have had and heard people at this center say, put on your practitioner hat and let me tell you something. So hats are things that we doff, if not physically, we doff it in an emotional sense. We're not hiding anything necessarily, but we're adopting that. Years ago, I taught, over a number of years, I taught at various levels of higher education, from community colleges to four-year colleges, and I taught communication courses. And at some of them, I taught presentation courses. And one of the things that I used to talk about was taking your audience into account as you craft your message. And so we did a lot of exercise with that and talking about that if you are speaking to a group of scientists that are specialists in the field that you are, you would adopt a certain level of vocabulary. But if you're covering the same topic at a PTA meeting, you might wear a different hat. You might wear the hat of a parent at the school who's simply sharing some information they have to know, and you would craft it accordingly. It's a point of view, it's a way of crafting what you say, and it's something you do consciously most of the time. Although I think that we also do it unconsciously, perhaps out of habit. I've noticed I could particularly notice when I was in high school, watching teachers who would be one way in the classroom, but you would see them in their casual conversation, in their whole body language. There was just things that were different about them. And I've noticed that with other professionals, when they're on the job, they have that hat on, but when they're off the job, they never stop being a nurse or a doctor or a teacher or a therapist, but they're not wearing it at that moment. They've laid it aside to be something else. And so that kind of idea of wearing a hat when you're choosing to do things a certain way, to me is understandable. It's even useful at times, especially because you do it consciously, and especially because you're aware of what you're doing and you're thinking about what you're saying. And I think that another way that we do it is the vocabulary that we use. And I alluded to that when I was talking about a scientist speaking to scientists versus the PTA. There's vocabulary that you wouldn't use. And when I'm talking to student ministers about things like that, I remind them that as we go through science of mind classes and practitioner classes and ministry, we get used to jargon that we talk about. And on a Sunday morning, there may be people in this room, there may be people on YouTube have never heard this message before. And there's certain things that might confuse them. Example I often use is mental equivalent, which I don't think readily explains itself. And so if you're not going to, you probably shouldn't use that term. And as a caution, I've copied some definitions of mental equivalent. I'm going to put them out on the table so I can not be guilty of what I'm talking about, using the vocabulary. But it is that idea of crafting your point of view according to how you speak is, to me, really an important thing to do, to think about the words that you use. And indeed, someone may say, if you're having conversation, I don't understand what that means, and that gives you an opportunity to change it. But if you ever stand up at a meeting or you're speaking in a certain place, you might not have that opportunity. So that's points of view. Those are different hats that we wear. Masks are things that I think, like hats, can be very useful, but they can also be something that masks your own personal feelings in an unconscious way. There are times when I think that we think about wearing masks, whether it's on purpose or not, but if we're going to, you're at work, you have a project, and you have to report to your peers about what's going on, you're nervous. You may start doubting yourself. But then you tell yourself, I need to be confident. I know what I'm talking about, and I need to say that. I need to be that. And so that's a mask that you put on. You may not feel totally confident, but you decide that you're adopting that confidence, and that confidence will then infect the presentation that you make. One of the things that I used to share with my college students years ago is don't shoot yourself in the foot when you have a presentation. And I only said that because I had students who would do that. Their talks were like 3 to 5 minutes. They were not long, but it was a source of a lot of anxiety. And they had a podium, and they could hold on to it, and they had places to put their notes. But I still had students who would walk up, and if the podium is here, rather than go back there first, they would get up and say, okay, the alarm went off in my dorm at 2 o'clock this morning, and we were outside for I don't know how long, and I'm just a mess today. And then they go back to do their talk. Well, audience expectation plummets when you shoot yourself in the foot ahead of time. And so those kind of masks of confidence, act like you're the person that you want to be that person, it can't be very useful, because once you're successful at doing that, you realize, I can do this. And then there are other times when we are masking things that are hurtful to us, that make us feel less than. And anger is one. We do not want to show anger. Or we fear that we may be afraid of, and shame is another. Some of you have heard of the author Brené Brown, and I believe that Brené Brown has made a fantastic career out of dealing with that aspect, that evidently there are quite a lot of people that want more information and want more understanding about how to deal with shame. She says, I did not set out as a therapist to be a wild-eyed guru of shame, but the therapist of shame is what I have become. And so she has adapted how she is teaching and how she is taking a point of view and how she is crafting the message so that she can help people, because that is her goal to do that. The story from which the place that I got this story from is a book called Homecoming, and it is written by Thema Bryant. She is a minister and she is a therapist. She's a renowned therapist. She's president of a national organization of therapists, and she's local. And she, I say local, she's in Los Angeles. And she is dealing in those things that people mask in public, which is far more than just shame. It's so much more. People who've experienced trauma and how they deal with it. So masking who you really are eventually can become a very serious issue for that. And so what do we do with all of that? Well, one of the things we do is talk about it. And so there are several things that I'm thinking of. Number one, we're having this workshop this afternoon. The teens are giving a workshop. And one of the things that they want to share is to give you all, the adults, an idea, and it's just an idea of what happens at teen camp. Because teen camp itself is successful simply because the teens who go feel safe with that group, and they are able to share thoughts they may never have shared before. That's an outstanding thing to say. Now, that is not likely what you will hear today, but you will hear some of the questions. And perhaps you can put yourself in that situation that helps you understand why, if teens absolutely trust the people that are in their family group, and they do, they share things they've never told another person. And sharing something like that is the beginning of being able to heal. Also, in this center, one of the things that we've been doing in the last few months is having groups of people that meet together for various reasons to share. It's a book, it's another book, it is another book, or it's just a discussion. But that is an opportunity for you to test the waters in how you get to share things that may really be troubling you. And of course, the third thing is that every service, after service, practitioners are here in front of you. And they are people who are trained to listen to what you have to say and ask you questions and help you to feel safe in who you are. And I think that there's so many ways that we want to be more than we are, in the sense that if we have something within us that hurts, that we don't want to share, the idea that we have to carry that all on our own is a mask that's really quite heavy. I actually, once upon a time, had a mask that I was wearing in something, and it literally was heavy. It was a production I was in, and it probably did mask who you were. I'm sure it did. But it was heavy, and it was a burden, and I think about that, how big a burden it must be to feel that you can't share the things that are really troubling you. Now, that doesn't mean you share it with everyone. You do have to feel safe when you share. You have to feel safe in doing this. And I think for all of us, it's easier perhaps for us to listen to others. One of the things that I have talked about is that even if we can't do a lot of things, we can ask for help. I know several months ago, I think, I was quoting my granddaughter who had just learned to ask for help, and she said, "Help me." And I had several people come up and say, ask me for something. They said, "Can you help me?" And so that idea that we could just ask for help is that liberating? It can be. Because it is important that we take care of ourselves, but it has to start with us. We have opportunities, we have ways to explore. There are many ideas that we are sharing here, but ultimately, this teaching is a teaching from the inside out. This teaching means that nobody's going to hand it to you. We don't have this intercessor that's going to come between us and that higher self of ours is going to help us fix it. We are it. We are the ones. Monica quoted Ernest Holmes in This Thing Called You, and that is really one of his biggest messages. You are the one. You are the one that will be the person you need to be, that can shape that. And all you have to do is open yourself to that idea. On Wednesday, one of our questioners asked a question, and I won't go into the topic of Wednesday, but asked the question, did I believe, and I'm not sure I understand the question, but he said, did I believe that the people in the story that I was sharing used involution and evolution, that concept that Ernest Holmes talks about? And what I said was, I talked around it because I wasn't sure exactly what the person was asking me. But what I do know is that involution is where I call on Spirit to show me the way. And it is something I do in most of my prayers. Show me what I need to ask for, and then the evolution comes where I am able to do that. Inspire me, guide me. And that idea of involution and evolution to me is an important part, even without the words. But the act of saying, help me, to Spirit. Show me what to do. Because your prayer is always answered. And that's one of the simplest things that we can do, is to ask for help. So what I'm knowing today is that whatever masks we wear unconsciously or out of a need to cover ourselves or our emotional selves up, that we take a look and understand, what is it that I really want to open up more about right now? And when we ask those questions and give ourselves time to process Spirit's download, then we find the answers we need. We can wear masks and hats and have fun with them or have an interesting experience with them. But when it comes to the innermost feeling, I would like to know that I'm not masking it to feel safe. I am opening myself to transformation, and that there is love that comes in that fills that space. And that is the story of masks and hats from this place in time. Thank you all for being here. The ushers are coming down, and they are going to pass the plate, and we're going to bless this offering at this point. Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper all those who give and all those who receive. I rejoice in the sharing of my gift, and I release my gift with love, and so it is. I have a brief mission statement to read today that is one that I'm really excited about, that someone actually talked about this. I am so grateful that we are beginning to have childcare. I have a few friends who have younger children and might be interested in coming, since I do intend to share with my friends that their children can have their own space during the service. I've been seeing children in Richelieu Hall, and I just love their laughter and energy, and I hope we get more. And so I'm hoping we get more too, and celebrate that as our mission. And now, Jesse Theory.
Thank you very much. I'm going to take off my student hat and put on my musician hat. Very nice. My singer hat, rather. And also, I'd like to call attention to Andy over here. He is such an amazing talent. Very lucky to have him here. Absolutely. We're going to play a oldie but a goodie.
Love is but a song we sing, fears the way we die. You can make mountains ring, hear the angels cry. Though the bird is on the wing, and you may not know why. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Some may come and some may go, we will surely pass. When the one who left us here returns for us at last, love is but a moment's sunlight fading into grass. Sing along if you know it. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. One more time. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now.
Let's hear it, Andy.
I said, come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. If you hear the song I sing, you will understand. You hold the key to love and fear, all in your trembling hand. Just one key unlocks them both. It's there at your command. I said, come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now.
I can hear you a little bit. Bring it on.
I said, come on, people now, smile on your brother. try to love one another right now.
All right, last time we're feeling.
I said, come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Right now. Right now.
Thank you very much.
Jesse Theory. Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you, Jesse. And I actually do think that Woody Guthrie would approve. Thank you. And thank you, Andy. Andy, our musical director, he puts everything together. Everything together. What I'm holding here are the mental equivalent things I'm going to put out there. They're really kind of messy, so that's the reason I didn't put them out ahead of time. I was afraid somebody would say, "Ooh, what's this?" and throw it in the trash. But I hope that you'll find it useful. I didn't try to make them too pretty. We are at such an amazing time. It's sort of a beginning of spring when we go into daylight savings time, but we're still having weather that most of us were not expecting the way it is, and so much of it. And so I know that we are always being grateful for where we are in all of this weather, and knowing that we're all safe, and knowing for those people that are not that far from us are dealing with more strenuous situations that I know that I am. And so I want to be mindful, to be grateful for what I have, and to also bless the people who are having to deal with more things. Meanwhile, I want us all to remember how many wonderful opportunities we have to celebrate life in this center. I'm just loving the success of the balance class, the number of people who are coming. It is girding yourself to be physically fit as you move in the world is, to me, it's a glorious intention. And it's such a wonderful thing to celebrate. And more of you do not have to concern yourself with anything about any of these classes. The yoga class, someone who came for the first time just a couple of weeks ago shared with me, well, you know, it really was easy because nobody's really paying attention to me. It didn't matter if I couldn't bend the same way, it didn't matter. And I would want more and more people to understand yoga is really about you. The balance class is really about you. It's not about what other people are doing. It's about making ourselves healthier and feel better about things. So everything we do, maybe we can make the commitment that we invest our own energy and our own self into moving forward in some way that we know that we are better off, and then the world is better off because of that. So as we share this blessing, I know that we remember that it's never just about us as we bless. We're blessing the world, blessing individuals as we bless ourselves. And so we say, I know divine love enfolds me. Divine light leads me. Divine life lives in me. Divine wisdom inspires me. Divine compassion expresses through me. And divine power protects me. All that I am is Spirit's life and expression, and it's good and very good. With deep joy and generosity filling me, I go forward now in sacred service, a world that works for all. I move through my days with grace and ease, in peace and love, in health and wellness, in fullness and plenty, and in loving relationship with all. What I now know for myself, I know for all life. There is only God. There is only God. there is only God. And so it is. So I remind the practitioners to please, that want to serve, please come and stand. And I invite all of us who just want to have a discussion with the practitioner, please show yourself, make yourself available for this. And the rest of us, let's just simply rise and sing the congregational song, which is about peace. Let there be peace on earth